Did you know the body has its own language? It doesn't shout. It whispers, especially at night. Most of us never learn to listen. We think silence means safety, that stillness means rest. But sometimes, in the quiet hours before dawn, the body speaks the loudest, through a trembling hand, a numb arm, or a single skipped heartbeat that feels like falling. He didn't think much of it at first, just another night, another dream, another small pain that came and went. He was 72, a retired carpenter who had built homes for strangers his entire life, but never learned how to care for the one home he carried inside his ribs. Every night he slept on the same side, curled like a question mark, chasing warmth in the dark. Until one morning he woke to a heavy stillness. His arm tingled. His head felt thick with fog. He sat up slowly, the room spinning just enough to remind him how fragile mornings can be. "Probably slept wrong," he whispered, unaware that his body had been begging for attention for years. You see, the body doesn't betray us. It tries to warn us. The problem is, we're too busy, too proud, or too afraid to listen. We think health disappears suddenly. A fall, a stroke, a diagnosis that lands like thunder. But most storms don't start with thunder. They start with wind, soft, invisible, easy to ignore. Somewhere between middle age and old age, time rearranges the way we live. What once came easy, standing, breathing, bending, starts to ask for permission. We call it weakness. But maybe it's wisdom, the body's way of saying, slow down. At night, when you lie in bed, your heart doesn't sleep. It keeps working, quietly negotiating with gravity. Pressure and breath. The way your head meets the pillow, the way your neck turns. They all matter more than you think. Your body is mapping oxygen like an old cartographer tracing rivers. A wrong bend, a blocked path, and the brain learns hunger in silence. He used to wake with a pounding in his skull, thought it was coffee withdrawal, thought it was age. But it was the way he slept. His neck bent too far, his head too high, his blood moving uphill against a pillow that looked soft but pressed too hard. We treat comfort like safety, but sometimes comfort is the slowest kind of danger. I once met a woman who slept under her blanket every winter. She said it made her feel safe. Every morning she woke sluggish, heavy, trapped in a fog she couldn't name. It wasn't sleep. It was her body starved for air, drowning under the warmth she trusted. There's something poetic about that, isn't there? How often the things that make us feel safe are the very things that quietly hurt us. It's not only sleep, it's the way we move. Watch an old man tie his shoes, slowly, carefully. There's a reverence in it, a patience he didn't have at 30. His body has taught him the price of rushing. When he bends too fast, the world tilts. When he stands too quick, the heart hesitates. These aren't failures, they're reminders that blood needs time, that breath needs grace. We forget that balance isn't just about strength, it's about humility. For decades, we're told to push harder, to move faster, to fight aging like it's an enemy. But maybe the secret isn't fighting, maybe it's listening. When you wake tomorrow, don't rush to your feet. Stay still for a moment. Let your blood find its rhythm. Let your breath catch up with your thoughts. That isn't weakness, it's intelligence written in pulse and pressure. Pour a glass of water before your coffee. Feel it move down your throat, gentle as forgiveness. Your brain, that miracle of memory and light, is 75% water. It runs on the simplest things: rest, breath, hydration, quiet. We spend so much of life complicating what was always simple. Sometimes I think aging is less about losing youth and more about learning tenderness. Not the kind you give others, the kind you finally give yourself. Every bite, every sip, every movement is a conversation between you and the body that has carried you this far. Some foods will comfort you, others will quietly harden the very vessels keeping you alive. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness, knowing which things still love you back. He learned this the hard way. After his small scare, the dizzy morning, the tingling hand, he began paying attention, changed his pillow, took slower walks, traded his heavy dinners for lighter ones, stopped drinking coffee before breakfast. Small things. So small, you'd almost laugh. But the small things saved him. because that's how the body heals, not through miracles, but through patience. Sometimes healing sounds like the click of a light switch as you turn off the television before midnight. Sometimes it's the whisper of fabric as you pull the blanket down from your face. Sometimes it's just listening. I wish more doctors spoke that language. I wish hospitals felt more like sanctuaries than battlefields. Too often, we measure health in tests and numbers and forget the human behind them. I remember sitting with a woman in a white hospital room. She just lost her husband, not to illness, but to a routine test. They said it was standard, she told me. He was fine, until he wasn't. There was no villain, no malpractice, just a fragile system that forgot fragility lives in us all. Medicine can save lives, but wisdom, listening, questioning, waiting, that's what keeps them. If you ever find yourself in a cold room surrounded by machines, don't be afraid to ask, is this necessary? Is there another way? That single question might be the most powerful heartbeat of all. But this story isn't about fear. It's about choice. Every day we're given 100 chances to listen, to move slower, breathe deeper, eat gentler, love longer. And each choice writes a line in the story of how we age. There's a quiet courage in growing old, a bravery that doesn't shout or march or demand. It just keeps showing up, even when the mirror changes, even when the body aches. One morning, he sat by the window, sunlight spilling across his hands. He'd been keeping a little notebook, a list of things his body taught him. At the top, he'd written, "When you wake, don't rush. When you sleep, let your heart breathe. When you eat, choose kindness." He smiled as he wrote the last line. You are still alive. That means you still have time to listen. Sometimes I wonder if that's what wisdom truly is. Not knowledge, not control, but presence. The ability to stand in your own aging and say, I'm still here, and I'm still learning. The truth is, the body remembers everything. The laughter you swallowed, the weight you carried, the nights you ignored its warnings. It forgives, but it never forgets. And maybe that's the beauty of it, that it still fights for you, even after you've given up fighting for it. So tonight, when you lie down, don't just collapse into sleep. Listen. Feel the weight of your head against the pillow, the air in your lungs, the rhythm beneath your ribs. You're not fragile. You're alive. And life at any age is still the most extraordinary sound in the universe. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let the body speak in its ancient language of pulse, of warmth, of trust. And when morning comes, wake slowly. There's no rush. The world will wait. You, my friend, have earned the right to take your time. Because aging isn't the end of living. It's the art of listening. And if one day you wake to the quiet between heartbeats, don't be afraid. That silence isn't death. It's gratitude, your body whispering, thank you, for finally hearing me.